I worked Houston, I worked Corpus Christi. Every little town here, Longview, man, you name it, I've been there. You know, really, I've been all.
For decades, fans believed they knew everything about Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. His life was on display in movies, concerts, and magazines, but behind all the fame and flashing cameras, there were secrets he kept locked away. Nobody expected what would be found when his bedroom safe was finally opened. The contents left his family stunned, revealing sides of Elvis they had never seen before. What was hidden inside went far beyond money or memorabilia. It showed a private world full of surprises, emotions, and mysteries that changed how people saw him forever. This story uncovers the hidden treasures in Elvis's most personal space, the reactions of those closest to him, and the shocking truths that remind us there was always more to the king than the public ever knew. Mystery around Elvis's hidden safe. Elvis Presley had a part of his life that no one could see, a private world hidden behind the walls of his bedroom. At the center of it all was a small, unassuming safe, tucked away where only he could reach it. To anyone else it looked ordinary, just another piece of furniture in a star's home. But for Elvis, it held pieces of his heart, memories he didn't want to share, and secrets he kept close. Opening that safe would later become an event that stunned his family, showing them sides of the king they had never imagined. It wasn't about money or jewelry. It was about understanding the man himself. Inside that metal box were moments frozen in time. Some objects were personal keepsakes, reminders of family and friends, letters and photographs that told stories only he knew. Others reflected his passion for music and his life as a performer, the things that drove him, inspired him, and sometimes weighed on him. Every item had meaning, and every item revealed a layer of Elvis's personality that had been carefully hidden from the world. For someone who shared so much through his songs, it was surprising how much he kept private. The safe became a secret universe, one that only Elvis could fully understand, until the day it was finally opened. When his family saw what was inside, they were speechless. Some items sparked laughter as they remembered joyful moments. Others brought tears, recalling times that were tender, difficult, or bittersweet. The safe wasn't just a collection of objects, it was a reflection of Elvis's life, showing both the light and shadow of his journey. It revealed a man who loved deeply, worried quietly, and cherished the people and experiences that mattered most. The safe became a bridge, connecting those who loved him to the person behind the legend, giving them a chance to see his heart in ways they hadn't before. The treasures in the safe went beyond their physical form. Personal items reflected his thoughts, dreams, and fears. Together, they created a portrait of a man who, despite the adoration of millions, had parts of his life he wanted to protect. Each discovery invited reflection, wonder, and sometimes even disbelief. It reminded everyone that the king of rock and roll was human, vulnerable, and full of emotions, just like anyone else. The safe's contents didn't just surprise his family, they reshaped their understanding of him. They showed that even a life lived under constant attention could hold secrets, and that those secrets could carry immense emotional weight. It revealed a side of Elvis that was tender, private, and profoundly personal, helping his family feel closer to him even after he was gone. In the end, the safe wasn't simply a locked box. It was a key to understanding the man behind the music, a glimpse into his soul, and a reminder that sometimes the most important treasures are the ones we keep hidden from the world. Elvis's private life and why he hid so much. Even though Elvis Presley was known for his larger-than-life persona, there was a side of him that few people ever saw. Beneath the flashing lights, screaming fans, and endless cameras, he had a private life he carefully protected. He didn't hide these things out of shame or fear. He hid them because they were deeply personal. The safe in his bedroom became a sanctuary for memories and items that belonged entirely to him, pieces of his life he wanted to keep safe from the world. These weren't just possessions. They were parts of his story that he chose to carry quietly, away from public view. Elvis's need for privacy came from a lifetime of being observed. From a young age, he felt the weight of attention and expectation. Every action, every word, and every expression was analyzed, discussed, and judged. While the world saw the confident, energetic performer on stage, few knew about the boy who had grown up with dreams, insecurities, and emotions he couldn't always share. The safe was his way of holding on to the parts of himself that were untouched by fame. Letters, photographs, and personal mementos became his way of remembering the people and moments that mattered most, untouched by the glare of public attention. He also used the safe to protect his creative world. Elvis had a deep love for music, not just as a career, but as a form of self-expression. Inside the safe were drafts, notes, and recordings that showed how he explored ideas, experimented with sounds, and poured his feelings into his songs. These were pieces of him that he couldn't show to anyone else until they were ready. To Elvis, music was deeply personal, almost like a diary written in melody and rhythm. The safe became a space where he could let that part of him exist freely, without judgment or interruption. Family was another reason Elvis kept his treasures hidden. He cared deeply about the people closest to him, and often worried about how his fame affected them. The items inside the safe reflected his love, his memories, and his connections with those who meant the most. By keeping these things private, he could honor those relationships and keep them untouched by public attention. Even his closest friends didn't fully understand the depth of his need for privacy. To them, Elvis was the king of rock and roll, a bright star whose life seemed open to the world. Yet behind closed doors, he maintained a life of intimacy and reflection that no one else could enter. The safe was a symbol of that dual existence, an outwardly public life paired with a deeply private one. It was a reminder that even someone who lived in the spotlight could have hidden corners filled with emotion, thought, and memory. In the end, Elvis's private life and the treasures he protected reveal a man who was thoughtful, sensitive, and deeply human. The safe wasn't just a locked box. It was a window into his soul, a place where he could be entirely himself. It showed that behind the fame and the music, there was a person who valued memories, feelings, and the simple things that made life meaningful. Understanding why he hid these items helps everyone who loves him see Elvis not only as a legend, but as a man with a heart full of stories he wanted to keep safe, even from the world. The moment the safe was finally opened. The day the safe was finally opened was filled with anticipation, tension, and a strange mix of excitement and nerves. For years, it had sat quietly in Elvis Presley's bedroom, untouched and unexamined, a small metal box holding secrets no one could imagine. Those who were about to see its contents knew it wasn't just a matter of curiosity. They were about to step into a part of Elvis's life that had been private for decades. The air felt heavy, almost sacred, as if the room itself was holding its breath, waiting for the moment to reveal what had been hidden all this time. Family members gathered cautiously, their eyes shifting between each other and the safe, unsure of what to expect. Some felt anxious, wondering if they were ready to see the personal side of a man they thought they knew. The safe had been more than a container. It had been a silent witness to Elvis's life, a secret repository for moments he cherished and ideas he kept close. Opening it felt like peeling back a layer of time, a chance to step into the king's private world. When the lock clicked open, the room went quiet. No one rushed forward. Instead, they approached carefully, as if touching the safe or its contents too quickly might disturb the memories inside. Inside, they discovered stacks of letters, photographs, and personal notes, all arranged with care. Each item told a story, whether it was a note to a family member, a snapshot of a happy moment, or a scribbled idea for a song. It was immediately clear that the safe wasn't just a collection of possessions. It was a carefully curated collection of memories, a private archive that revealed who Elvis truly was beyond fame and performance. As each item was examined, emotions began to surface. Laughter broke out over some playful notes, while quiet tears appeared at reminders of tender moments long past. The safe was not a static collection. It was alive with the essence of Elvis himself. Every photograph, letter, and keepsake was a thread connecting his family to him in ways they had never felt before. Some items surprised even those closest to him, showing sides of Elvis that had never been shared. There were objects that hinted at dreams, fears, and private joys that the public never saw. The safe revealed a vulnerability that contrasted sharply with the confident, larger-than-life persona known to fans worldwide. For those present, it was both thrilling and humbling to see this new layer of the king, proof that fame had never overshadowed his humanity. The opening of the safe marked the start of a journey into Elvis's private world. It was no longer a locked mystery. It was a living story, filled with memories and emotions that connected the family in ways that had been impossible before. Every item brought them closer, letting them understand the man behind the music and the legend. The safe had kept its secrets for decades, but when it was finally opened, it gave the king's family a chance to see him as he truly was, thoughtful, loving, and full of emotion. When the safe finally revealed its contents, it quickly became clear that what lay inside was far more astonishing than anyone had imagined. At first, the items seemed simple: letters, photographs, and a few personal mementos. But as each piece was carefully examined, it became obvious that every item held a story, a memory, or a feeling that added depth to the man the world had always known. Some items reflected Elvis's playful side, others his serious, reflective nature. Together, they created a vivid portrait of a man who lived much more privately than anyone had ever suspected. Among the treasures were letters written to family and friends, some dating back decades. These letters weren't formal or scripted. They were honest and full of emotion, offering glimpses into the relationships Elvis cherished most. They showed a man who celebrated the successes of those he loved, worried about their well-being, and treasured their connection even from afar. Some letters expressed gratitude, others curiosity or reflection, but all revealed the depth of his care and the attention he gave to those who mattered. It was a side of Elvis that had rarely been acknowledged, the thoughtful, tender, and deeply human man behind the fame. Photographs were another window into his private world. There were snapshots from holidays, quiet family dinners, and simple moments of joy that contrasted sharply with the chaos of his public life. Seeing Elvis laughing with family or captured in tender, intimate moments reminded everyone that even the king of rock and roll had a normal life he valued deeply. These images weren't staged. They were authentic, candid moments preserved through time, offering a sense of closeness and connection that fans and family alike could feel. Some of the items surprised even those closest to him. Drafts of lyrics, song ideas, and notes on performances revealed the creative process behind his music. These were not just casual scribbles, they were thoughtful explorations of melody, rhythm, and emotion, showing a man deeply committed to his art. It highlighted his dedication and showed that his talent was matched by hard work and reflection. Even the smallest keepsakes carried meaning. Trinkets from childhood, gifts from close friends, and items tied to personal milestones were tucked carefully inside, each holding memories and emotions. These objects were humble yet priceless in their significance, showing how much Elvis valued the people, moments, and experiences that defined him. They revealed a man who, despite his fame and fortune, treasured simplicity and intimacy, and who kept reminders of his roots close to his heart. As his family examined the safe, they experienced a mix of emotions. Some items sparked laughter as they recalled shared memories. Others brought tears, reminding them of moments they hadn't thought about in years. Every discovery, no matter how small, added another layer to their understanding of Elvis as a man, a father, and a loved one. The safe wasn't just a container, it was a living record of a life filled with depth, love, and emotion. Ultimately, what made the vault extraordinary wasn't just the objects themselves, but the story they told together. Each item reflected a side of Elvis that had remained hidden from the public eye, reminding everyone that behind every legend is a private world filled with memories, emotions, and treasured relationships. But as the treasures unfolded, a deeper, more intense moment was about to hit, and that reaction would reveal more about Elvis than any object ever could. The stunned, the laughter, the tears, and the emotions that would ripple through those who loved him most. Family's stunned and emotional reaction. As the contents of the safe were slowly revealed, the full weight of the discoveries began to hit Elvis Presley's family. What they were seeing wasn't just a collection of letters, photographs, and mementos. It was a window into the king's private world, one that had been hidden from everyone, even those closest to him. Every item told a story, but the real impact came from experiencing them together, in real time, as a family trying to piece together the man they loved so deeply. The emotions in the room shifted constantly, creating a mix of astonishment, joy, nostalgia, and profound tenderness. The photographs were often the first to elicit strong reactions. Candid snapshots of Elvis laughing with family, celebrating quiet moments, or simply enjoying time away from the stage brought smiles and laughter, but had sometimes been overshadowed by fame. Seeing him in these everyday moments felt intimate, almost like stepping back in time to relive those memories firsthand. It was a powerful reminder that, beneath the superstar image, Elvis had always been deeply human, full of love, humor, and joy. Then came the letters and personal notes, and the mood in the room shifted. Words written from Elvis's heart revealed his quiet reflections, his care for family and friends, and his thoughts on the world around him. Some letters expressed gratitude for simple acts of kindness, others shared worries or concerns, and a few reflected tender moments of private emotion. As the family read through them, some laughed softly at the playful sentiments, while others were moved to tears by the heartfelt words. The letters made it clear that Elvis had a side to him that few had ever truly seen, a side full of feeling, sensitivity, and thoughtfulness. Even the small keepsakes in the safe sparked profound reactions. Childhood trinkets, personal gifts, and objects tied to special memories reminded his family of moments long past. These items were humble, yet their emotional weight was immense. Each one was a testament to Elvis's careful attention to the people he loved and the moments he cherished. Handling these mementos, the family felt as though they were holding pieces of Elvis's soul, tangible reminders of the man they had always known but now understood even more deeply. The drafts of songs and notes about performances also drew attention and awe. These creative fragments revealed his meticulous nature and dedication to his craft. They showed a man who didn't take his talent for granted, who labored over details, explored new ideas, and poured his heart into everything he created. His family could see the effort, thought, and emotion that went into his artistry, offering a glimpse of the king's private world as an artist who cared deeply about the impact of his music. Throughout the process, emotions ran high, and the reactions of the family reflected a spectrum of feelings. Laughter, tears, amazement, and nostalgia all mingled together. They were reminded that Elvis's life, though lived under constant public scrutiny, had always included deeply private moments, quiet acts of love, and emotions carefully tucked away. The safe had preserved these pieces of his life with care, and seeing them now created a profound sense of closeness, connection, and understanding. By the time the last items were examined, it was clear that this experience had changed their perspective on Elvis forever. They didn't just see a legendary performer. They saw a man with tenderness, humor, love, creativity, and depth. The safe had opened more than a locked box. It had opened a window into Elvis's soul, allowing his family to witness a part of him they had never known, and reminding them of the profound humanity behind the king of rock and roll. Every discovery, every reaction, and every emotion added to the understanding that Elvis's life was as rich in private love and care as it was in public triumph. Secret that changed how the world saw him. For decades, the public had admired him as a superstar, a larger-than-life figure who electrified audiences with every performance. But the items in the safe revealed that there was much more to Elvis than the king of rock and roll everyone thought they knew. Letters, photographs, and personal keepsakes showed a man who was thoughtful, sensitive, and deeply connected to the people and experiences that mattered most. Suddenly, Elvis wasn't just a legend on stage, he was a real person, with emotions, reflections, and vulnerabilities that made him relatable in ways the world had never seen. Some of the most striking revelations were the tender personal letters he had written to family and friends. They showed a man who expressed love and care in private, celebrating joys quietly and offering reassurance in times of need. These letters reflected an emotional depth that was invisible to the public eye, revealing that behind the superstar persona, Elvis valued connection, intimacy, and loyalty. Fans and historians alike could now see him not just as a performer but as a son, a friend, and a person who thought deeply about the people he loved. Other items gave insight into his personality and private life in unexpected ways. Small keepsakes, mementos, and photographs captured moments of playfulness, joy, and reflection that had nothing to do with fame or performance. Seeing these private treasures showed that Elvis treasured simple everyday experiences, the laughter of family, quiet dinners at home, and memories that could never be captured on stage. These personal moments added layers to his story, proving that even someone living under constant attention could maintain a rich, private world filled with love and humanity. And handwritten notes revealed how deliberate and passionate he was about his music. He experimented, reflected, and poured emotion into every piece, demonstrating that his success wasn't just talent, it was the result of dedication, care, and thoughtful artistry. Seeing these materials allowed the world to appreciate not only the brilliance of his performances, but the depth of thought behind them. Elvis was more than an entertainer. He was an artist who lived and breathed his craft, and the safe captured that creative spirit in its most personal form. Some of the discoveries even challenged public assumptions. Objects and letters showed sides of Elvis that contrasted sharply with his public image. Moments of vulnerability, reflection, and quiet concern for others. These items reminded fans and the world that behind the flashing lights, screaming crowds, and energetic performances was a man who felt deeply, who worried, who loved, and who preserved memories with care. His humanity became undeniable, and the narrative of Elvis shifted from purely legendary to profoundly human. By the end of the day, it was clear that the safe's secrets had changed more than just the family's understanding. They had the potential to change how the world remembered Elvis. He was no longer only the performer who captivated audiences. He was a man with a tender heart, a reflective mind, and a private life full of thoughtfulness and love. The safe revealed that fame had never overshadowed his capacity for intimacy, care, and creativity, and that the man behind the music had left a legacy not only of songs but of humanity. Ultimately, these revelations reminded everyone that the story of a legend is never fully told without seeing the private, human side. Elvis's life was complex, layered, and full of emotion, and the treasures in his safe allowed the world to glimpse the depth behind the legend. Through these discoveries, fans and family alike could appreciate him not only as the king of rock and roll, but as a man whose private life was just as extraordinary, touching, and inspiring as the one he shared with the world. What the hidden items say about Elvis as a man. The treasures in Elvis Presley's safe were far more than objects. They were windows into his heart, mind, and soul. Every letter, photograph, and keepsake told a story, revealing sides of him that the world rarely saw. Beyond the legend, the superstar and the performer was a man who loved deeply, reflected thoughtfully, and valued the moments and people that made life meaningful. These private treasures helped his family and now us see Elvis not just as a global icon, but as a real, complex human being. One of the most striking aspects revealed by the safe was his tenderness. Letters written to family members and close friends showed a man who cared profoundly for the people in his life and kept a thoughtful record of moments that mattered to him. These letters weren't written for anyone else. They were personal, heartfelt, and full of emotion. They revealed a side of Elvis that fame rarely allowed to shine, a man capable of genuine love, empathy, and devotion, who cherished his relationships in ways that were private but powerful. The safe also offered insight into his creative mind. Song drafts, notes for performances, and personal reflections on music revealed a man who didn't rely solely on natural talent. Every lyric, every melody, every idea had been carefully considered, showing a dedication to his craft that went far beyond the stage. These glimpses into his creative process highlighted the depth of thought, emotion, and intention behind his artistry. Elvis's music was not just a product of talent, it was a reflection of his heart, and the safe captured this connection beautifully. Even the smallest keepsakes carried meaning. Objects from his childhood, small gifts from friends, and mementos from special moments reflected a man who valued memory, nostalgia, and human connection. These were not extravagant possessions. They were personal reminders of experiences and people that shaped him. Through these items, it became clear that Elvis held his past close, treasured relationships, and never forgot the ordinary joys and milestones that made life rich and meaningful. They painted a picture of someone grounded, despite living in the glare of worldwide fame. His lighter, playful side also shone through. Some of the discoveries were humorous, quirky, or simple reminders of joy, showing a man who could laugh, enjoy life, and not take himself too seriously. He was a superstar, yes, but also a son, a friend, and a person who valued the little joys, the quiet moments, and the laughter shared with those closest to him. Ultimately, the safe revealed a man of remarkable depth, thoughtfulness, and emotion. Fame and public attention had never erased his humanity. If anything, it highlighted how carefully he preserved it. These private treasures allowed family and the world to see a side of Elvis that was reflective, loving, and profoundly human. The items told a story of someone who felt deeply, cared genuinely, and lived with intention, offering a rare and intimate look at the man behind the music. Through these discoveries, it's clear that Elvis's true legacy extends far beyond his songs and performances. The king of rock and roll left behind a life full of love, thoughtfulness, creativity, and personal reflection. His safe became a mirror to his soul, a reminder that even legends have private worlds rich with meaning and emotion, and it is in these hidden corners that we truly understand the man he was. They showed love, laughter, memories, and the side of the king that the world rarely got to see. These discoveries remind us that even the biggest legends have private lives, emotions, and moments they hold close, and that understanding someone fully means seeing both the public and private sides. Elvis's safety allowed his family, and now all of us, to feel closer to the man behind the music, to connect with the heart and soul that made him unforgettable. What do you think about the secrets found in Elvis's safe? Did they change the way you see him as a person and as a legend? If you could ask Elvis one question after seeing what was inside his safe, what would it be? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more incredible stories. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.